reading out the purported statement of Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir that he made in Tampa, Florida the other day. World's top defense expert Pravin Soni argues, among other things, that he does not see that Pakistan would face existential threat as far as the conventional war with India is concerned.
Come to what Asim Munir said in America. He said that if Pakistan faces an existential threat, that we are a nuclear nation, if we think we are going down, we will take half the world down with us. Now, we have seen in Operation Sindoor that China fully supported Pakistan with its non kinetic capabilities. So, I do not see, or nobody should see, that Pakistan really would face an existential threat as far as the conventional war is concerned with India. The only situation can be that if its nuclear facilities are hit like this by India, uh, bypassing the no first use policy, its stated policy, and hit with a conventional bunker busting bomb. So, in my assessment, what Munir said from American soil was basically against this. And I'm sure that he would have explained all this to the senior officials and the US military officials there in America. And as far as President Trump is concerned, President Trump would have been happy with the statement made by Munir because it gives credibility to his repeated statement that it is he who prevented a nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Now,
Mr. Soni also sheds light on Pakistan Army Chief Field Marshal's remark about Pakistan's likely response to dam building plan by India to stop water flows to Pakistan, as the latter has already put the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance.
Pora Asim Munir reportedly also said that if they make the dam, which is on the Indus River, we will let them make it and then we'll destroy it with 10 missiles. Now we know that when India put the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance, within hours of that, Pakistan said that if it is deprived of water from the Indian side, it will be considered an act of war. And so many people in Pakistan, responsible people, they have said this. Not only that, the Chinese have come openly in support of Pakistan on this issue, with a prominent Chinese commentator Victor Gao actually coming on an Indian channel and supporting Pakistan in this, that India cannot do a thing like this, build a dam or restrict the water supply to Pakistan. So that is precisely what he was saying there to the diaspora also. Now let's go to the question of integrity of Pakistan's nuclear command and
Mr. Soni also comments on the question about that India has raised about the integrity of Pakistan's nuclear command and control program. He also speaks about foolproof safety of Pakistan's nuclear weapons.
Now let's go to the question of integrity of Pakistan's nuclear command and control. Now we should know that within hours of doing the nuclear tests, their own nuclear tests, in May of 1998, the then Army Chief General Jahangir Karamat issued a note saying that there is a need now to establish a command and control organization because Pakistan had become a nuclear weapon state. And by December 1998, they established what is called the Strategic Plans Division, where Pakistan's nuclear weapons and all the other things concerning nuclear are supposedly under. This is the organization that heads that, and we know all this because of a book which is Eating Grass, written by a former SPD officer, Brigadier Feroz Hassan Khan. And we also know that despite whatever they have said about creating a nuclear command authority under the Prime Minister, the fact of the matter is that the SPD is directly under the Pakistan Army Chief, which means that the DGMO also reports to the Army Chief. So the Army Chief is in a very good position to ensure that there is a continuity, that there is a smooth continuity, a transition from the conventional war to the next level, which is the nuclear level. And if they would be having any doubts on this, we know that for the last 2 years, It was sometimes in 2023 news came that Pakistani military officers, they were embedded in China's, in PLA's Joint Staff Department, which is the highest operational headquarters of the PLA, working directly under the Central Military Commission. And Joint Staff Department is where the PLA's nuclear planning is done, and where the transition from a conventional war to a nuclear planning, all that is done. So obviously, as observers or in whatever capacity the Pakistani military officers are there, they would have learned a lot from there also. Now the question.
Explaining the organization or composition of Pakistan's army, Mr. Soni highlights the power of Pakistan's army chief.
And if you see the organization today of the Pakistan army, it is something like this, that the chief has under him three key things. The DGMO, who is responsible for the conventional war, he reports to the Pakistan army chief. And then the ISI chief, who today doubles as the national security advisor, also an officer called Lieutenant General Asim Malik. He also reports to the army chief. And then the head of the SPD, he also reports to the army chief. And so it is the Pakistan army chief who is in a very strong position, and which is why the whole world listens to what he has to say.
Last but not the least, dear viewers, one of the most important segment of Mr. Soni's perspective is how the unbiased international observers would read the present India-Pakistan relationship or the tensions between the nuclear-armed neighbors.
Of the reader, of the viewers, to 5 key points. The first one is, 2 days ago, the Indian Army chief made a statement while speaking at a seminar that the next war may happen soon, referring to a war between India and Pakistan. Second, Prime Minister Modi has paused Operation Sindoor. Now, pause is different from a ceasefire. Ceasefire would have meant that India and Pakistan have agreed to certain terms, which is not the case. Pause means either side is free to lift the pause and operation starts all over again. The third is that Prime Minister Modi said that a new normal has been established, and the new normal is that both sides are free to fire long range missiles either singly or as a salvo. And the fourth is, we know that there is an agreement between India and Pakistan not to target each other's nuclear facilities even in conflict. But this agreement was signed in 1988 when neither side had nuclear weapons. After they became nuclear weapon state in 1998, there is no nuclear missile or conventional forces agreement or a agreed restraint regime between India and Pakistan. And the fifth point is that on 30th of June, all media houses, I am referring here to the story that was done by India Today, they said that the DRDO is developing an advanced bunker busting conventional warhead to be used with Agni 5 missile. Now, Agni 5 is India's longest range, 5,000 kilometers nuclear vector. That means it will carry a nuclear warhead. Instead, DRDO is also thinking to have a advanced bunker busting conventional warhead, which can also be used with Agni 5. And this, the story suggested, was India's equivalent to America's bunker busting bombs, which were released by their B-2 bombers recently on Iran nuclear facilities. And in terms of more details about this bunker busting conventional warhead, this will have a weight of 7,500 kilograms, and it will have the capability to penetrate in the ground 80 to 100 meters below before detonating. And once this is ready, plenty of experts in India said, then it will be easy, or it will facilitate India to bypass its stated policy, nuclear policy, which is no first use, and hit Pakistan's nuclear installations. Now, we remember within days of Operation Sindoor being paused, Air Marshal Bharti of the Indian Air Force was asked a question: if the Indian Air Force had hit Pakistan's Kirana Hills. Kirana Hills is supposed to be Pakistan's nuclear facility, and his response was no. And he also feigned ignorance as to what was there in Kirana Hills. Now, all these 5 points that I have said, please put them together, and the situation becomes like this. Hypothetically speaking, without warning, bypassing the no first use policy, that means legally, India will be in a position once it has this advanced bunker busting conventional warhead to hit Pakistan's underground nuclear facilities in Kirana Hill or wherever they are. So that will be there, that capability will come.
Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Muni's purported statement therefore appears quite plausible in the view of India's growing belligerence against Pakistan. Dear viewers, please subscribe to our channel if you have liked our presentation. Minni Azabud Zainab Sarfraz Ahmad, Karachi, Pakistan. Ana Zainab Sarfraz Ahmad, Karachi, Pakistan.